Okay, this is the advanced sports coaching presentation by Alison Martin. This is for her periodised annual training plan on synchronised swimming. There you go, Ali.
An annual training plan guides training over a year. It divides training into distinctive phases with specific objectives. Bomper 2009 states that the purpose of the plan is to induce psychological adaptation and maximise performance in certain points. Periodisation is the foundations of an annual training programme. The three periodisation cycles are microcycle, which is daily to weekly training plan, mesocycle, which is 1 to 6 weeks with short-term goals, and a macrocycle, which is seasonal or yearly with long-term goals. Bomper 1999 states a periodisation plan is the method used for structuring short-term and long-term plans. The intensity and volume within a periodisation training programme varies to maximise the ability of that individual's body to recover and rebuild, which results in better performance and less risk to injury. This periodisation plan is for a team of 8 female synchronised swimmers aged 14 to 19 years old. The purpose of this plan is to prepare for competitions throughout the year 2014. There are 3 phases. The preparatory phase, which is pre-season, preparing for upcoming competitions. The competition phase, which is the season, main competitions take place, and the transition phase is off-season, so they have a break from training and active rest. Here, highlighted in orange, are the main competitions for the St Austell team. The competition, there's one figure competition, which all the girls are encouraged to participate in. This helps to maintain and learn new figures for team routines. As it's an individual competition, there will be more psychological barriers as the girls are used to performing. Synchronised swimming should be performed as a team, but this figure competition just helps to maintain figures and learn new ones. So as you can see, they're all there's different there's not just one season. They're all split up throughout the year, the competitions. Throughout the year, so the physical side, throughout the year, the key here, the girls will do the same, as the phases come up, they'll do the same physical training, but just at the different times. And as the competitions are spread apart throughout the year, they don't get a lot of active rest, so they have to maintain training throughout the year. The general preparation, the girls will be doing anaerobic conditioning at a high frequency but low intensity. Tour 2014 states, your anaerobic conditioning is the ability to perform at a rate faster than you can meet your incoming oxygen. So that's very important for synchro. The specific preparation, training will change to anaerobic endurance, as it will improve the capacity to produce power and energy consistently via the anaerobic pathways. Meaning anaerobic conditioning builds lung capacity, whereas anaerobic endurance maintains and improves lung capacity. That's important for synchro, as they do a lot of swimming under the water while moving their arms and legs, and they spend a lot of time under the water. For the pre-competition phase, the girls will continue to do anaerobic, so anaerobic endurance goes into the pre-competition phase, like cuts across. As this repetition, it helps to build up the athletes. In the competition phase, they'll be doing specific endurance, as that helps maximise performance. So they'll be working on areas of the routine, like egg beater, and a section of the routine where the girls need to make sure that they have as much endurance throughout. The type of physical training that they're doing is hypoxic training. It's an increase in carbon dioxide, which produces a strong drive to breathe. So that, for an example of this type of training, in like when they're warming up, they'll be doing, you can do front crawl, so you'll do breathing 3, 5, 7, 9, and then go back down again, so you'll do 3, 5, 7, 9, and then 7, 5, 3, and you can do that 25, so they work for 25 straight off, and then the next 25 could be at a slower pace. So it's like high intensity, low intensity, so high intensity and then a low intensity. But also you can do breaststroke, so you can do 1 on top, so you do breaststroke on top, and then 2 underneath, 1 on top, 3 underneath, and then 4 on top. And obviously breaststroke, they use breaststroke in the synchro to move through the water. You wouldn't use front crawl underwater. Breaststroke's the easiest one to do under the water, so to be able to do that, that's a good training method to use, as they're doing it, that's specific to synchro. The green line here is, you can see it's tapers off, so the training, this hypoxic training will be throughout the year to maintain their endurance, but as they're coming up to competitions, the intensity will decrease, so that it's reducing risk and making sure they don't get fatigue. They don't get a lot of, in the transition phase, they don't get a lot of active rest, but when they do have active rest, they'll still be doing general endurance, such as light swimming, gentle jogging, and yoga to keep muscles relaxed and supple. And as I said before, it tapers off, so the athletes aren't working too hard and reduce the risk of an injury before competition, and also fatigue. Tacticals are actions and strategies planned to achieve overall objectives. So the routine is 3.5 minutes long, and towards the end of the routine the girls become tired, which will affect their synchronisation. Therefore, in training it's important to perform the whole routine so the girls hit their anaerobic stage, whereas if they stop and start, they have time to recover and will find performing the whole routine hard. The St Austell girls in particular find the last minute of the routine the hardest, as the music increases and the tempo of the music increases, so they're doing lots more things underwater, coming up for a quick breath and then having to go back down again. So in training they do the whole routine, but they mainly work on that area, so they get their synchronisation accurate. Walkthroughs are also essential for the tactical areas, as the coach can look at positioning and timing while the girls are on the side. The intensity of tactical training increases as the girls get, so as you can see it goes up as they get closer to competitions, particularly with walkthroughs, as the girls are able to count aloud, concentrate on the music and focus on their synchronisation, still having to be accurate like they would be in the water, with sharpness of their arms and stuff, but not having to do the technical side and concentrate on the egg beating and the height. The technical side, the main technicals in synchro is the sculling and egg beating. Without the egg beating you can't obviously get height, and without the sculling you can't do the figures, so that's very important for movement and figures. For the figure competition, the ASA have specific synchronised standards that the girls have to try and achieve. So the technical training and physical training work together to build the athlete's endurance and stamina. More repetition, better athletes will become. The psychological. At the start of the ATP, the coach will talk to the athletes of their goals, and after competition they'll talk to them again, see if their goals are different or if they're still the same. In the figure competition, there's a lot more psychological, as the girls are having to think for themselves and they haven't got each other to, fall back on. So self-talk will be involved, as it's the mindset of the athlete, not the team. Whereas in the national age group championships, that's a big competition for girls. So there'll be a lot of imagery and visualisation psychological techniques used. So they'll get their atmosphere, they'll understand what atmosphere is like, issues that may put them off, and visualise themselves in the competition. Here's just an overall view of the ATP of the Synchro plan. As you can see, it's a lot up and down as the competitions are spread apart. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Ali. Okay, right, just a couple of questions. So you talked about how there is obviously a dependence on hypoxic training and anaerobic thresholds linked to synchronised swimming. You said that in training you do the whole routine.
Yeah.
Because it's 3.5 minutes long and the girls start to get fatigued.
Yeah.
Which you want, because they need to be able to stay fit enough to do the whole routine. How do you focus on, I think you said that you focus on that last minute or whatever it was.
Yeah.
How do you focus on that and yet still deliver the whole routine?
So you do the whole routine right through, and then you just spend a few minutes on that. So go over that area again a couple of times with, you'd use something on the side of the pool to count the music out, so you count the beats out, so the girls make sure they get it. They could also get out on the side and just walk it through, and then they'd come back, perform the whole routine again, and the coach would say, right, when you get to this bit, remember the counts that we've just practiced, remember what we've just done on the pool side. So the girls are still doing the whole routine, but when it gets to that bit, that they're focusing on their synchronisation.
Okay, good. And don't think, unless I'm mistaken, and tell me if I am, that you've mentioned anything in there about nutrition.
No, I haven't.
Bearing in mind the age group of your swimmers, what might you suggest to them as their coach that they methods to how they might manage their diet and the nutrition?
Well, because they're young, personally, I think that it's hard to. They're going to go out and eat what they want or do what they want. Obviously, just have a balanced diet. They'll know that they've got to eat their fruit and veg and still.
Okay. How do they know that?
From school, because they're at school.
Okay. Have you got a role to play in that as a qualified
yes, you should
person?
You've got to encourage it, and say that I hope you're. Obviously, if they're changing all the time, aren't they? So you've got to make sure that they're eating the right things to keep their physical up.
If they're working really hard during a session, which they obviously are, especially in terms of their anaerobic development, what do they need access to during a session, maybe?
They need to make sure they've got water and liquids. We've always said have the water on the side.
Okay. Anything else you want to add in, Ali? Are you happy enough?
That's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Well done.